This is for a Throwback Thursday. One of the most iconic movies ever filmed in Minnesota is getting ready for a big birthday.
Yeah, that's where we met. But I dropped out, though.
Yeah, she dropped.
Yeah.
So where are you girls from?
Chaska, Le Sueur. But I went to high school in White Bear Lake. Go Bears.
Go Bears. 1996 movie Fargo is turning 25 on Monday. The film won 2 Academy Awards, inspired, of course, a popular television series as well, and now a brand new book. It's taking a special look at how the movie was created. It's called A Lot Can Happen in the Middle of Nowhere, the untold story of the making of Fargo. Love the image there, too. The author, Todd Melby, joins us with a look at some of his stories with the hat and the plaid.
Well done.
Todd, well done. Good to see you.
Hey, good morning. How you doing? Yeah, go Bears.
Yeah, go Bears. It's still one of the best scenes of the movie.
Seriously.
Okay, it is crazy how Fargo has just fascinated like the film world and beyond. People still talk about that movie. Obviously, the show after it, you know, years after it. But why do you think people are just in love with this film?
I think it's surprising to folks, especially people who live outside of Minnesota and outside the Midwest. It was the first time that we were shown to the rest of the country and the rest of the world, you know, with our funny hats and our funny accent, but underneath all that, there's this veneer of darkness and murder, of course.
Now, your new book actually explores how the movie was made itself. You basically went out and researched this. You got audition tapes, you got films, you got sketches, you got all this stuff from the movie. But in your research, you actually learned that there were a few casting struggles.
Oh yeah, there were lots and lots of casting struggles. Casting is always a thing in movies. You know, directors want to be very specific that they get just the right person. So Joel and Ethan Coen from Minnesota, they wrote the script for Frances McDormand, who played the pregnant, investigator, and for the 2 bad guy kidnappers. But everything else was kind of up for grabs. So William H. Macy, who people know from Shameless and of course know from Fargo, he wrote the foreword for my book, and he told me his audition story. He had to really, really struggle to convince Joel and Ethan that he was the guy. The clip you show of Hooker number 1 and Hooker number 2, they stayed around and did multiple auditions because Joel and Ethan were really trying to figure out, like, who do they pair each person with? Who's the funniest? Who makes the best match? So there were lots and lots of those kinds of things.
In fact, you shared an original audition tape with us. So let's roll that tape. Let's take a look.
Yes.
So where are you girls from? Chaska. But I went to school in White Bear Lake.
Okay, so I want you to tell me what these fellows look like.
Well, the little guy, he was kind of funny looking.
In what way?
I don't know, just funny looking.
Okay, so there she is. That is Larissa Coconut, who eventually would be cast alongside her famous Minnesotan, Melissa Peterman. Both got their basically film debuts here, thanks
Absolutely.
to nailing that accent.
Absolutely. Well, Larissa's from here, and so is Melissa, so they were able to do it. And their names are so similar, sometimes you mix them up. And the great things about both of these people is they created backstories for their characters because they didn't want to just be generic hookers. So Larissa, who you saw had the little bee necklace, she christened her character Becky. And Melissa christened her character Chevrolet because she figured her mom thought that sounded kind of French, had a nice ring to it. So they were, Becky and Chevy going out for a night of, making some extra money.
Now, obviously, the accent and the dialect is famous now, but there were actually some battles over that and just how far to go with that.
Right, yeah. So the Minnesotans had heard it and grew up with it and pretty much nailed it. But there were people who didn't grow up in Minnesota, like William H. Macy and Frances McDormand. So Macy wasn't sure that he would go all in on the accent. The way he was raised as an actor or came up as an actor was to just sort of look for intention and to follow a character's intention and not get so hung up on accent. But then one day when they were at the hotel at the Marquette Hotel in downtown Minneapolis, they heard a couple of Minnesotans come into the elevator, and the Minnesotans are like, "Yeah, it's really cold out there today." "Oh yeah, you betcha." And then those Minnesotans left the elevator And, you know, Macy's like, I'm all in.
He's like, this is going to be fun. Beyond the book, obviously beyond the movie, I just want to ask you, like, is this just a movie? Is just this a concept that just kind of fascinated you? Like, why dive deep into a movie that's 20 plus years old? Is it just something that you knew there was more to be told?
Yeah, I'm a reporter, and I've covered all kinds of super serious topics. The oil boom in North Dakota, breaking news in Minnesota. And so this was kind of almost like a break for me, not to cover such serious topics all the time. I could just dive into something fun. But of course, it ended up having its serious aspects that I didn't always think about, you know, sort of the passive aggressiveness of Minnesotans versus the aggressiveness of, say, the Steve Buscemi character, who is just one of this stranger in a strange land. So for me, I'm a movie buff. I wanted to learn more about how movies are made, specifically a really great movie made here in Minnesota. So I did it for those personal reasons of, you know, learning about movies. And also, I'd never written a book by myself. So, like, could I write a book? Let's see if I can do it.
And that you did.
And you did.
And you got a hat out
Yeah.
of the deal.
Yeah.
Todd Melby,
I
thanks
wore
so
this
much.
hat this morning while I was walking the dog. It's not just
You're like,
a thing for
what's
TV.
the problem
It's not for
here?
show, huh?
I have one just like that, actually, Todd. You have to. It is what it is, right?
You have to. It is kind of hot right now inside the house.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate the time.
All right, a lot can happen in the middle of nowhere. The Untold Story of the Making of Fargo is out right now. Todd is also hosting a virtual launch party coming up on Monday night. He'll be joined by special guests and actors from the film itself. Just head to the Trilon Cinema Facebook page to watch and enjoy.
I love how every Minnesotan's like, but I don't talk like that.
Oh, I know.
I don't have an accent.
Oh, I know, don't you know?